Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining me today. My name is Tina, also known as Blooming Knitter, and this is Knitting Blooms. I am recording this episode on Wednesday, December 31st, 2014. You guys won't see it until Saturday, but I did want to mention that I am recording on New Year's Eve, and I can't believe the year is over. It just seemed like it flew right by. I have not a whole lot of knitting to show you today, but I do have a couple things to share with you. And there's one thing that I forgot. I'm going to have to get it before I get there. Anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed their holiday. I hope you guys all got all your heart's desires as far as knitting and spinning and whatnot goes. I think almost all of my all my presents were knitting or yarn related, and I did place a couple orders because I did get gift cards and whatnot. One of the orders that I placed has not arrived yet, so I will probably be showing that to you next week. But the main gift that I got this year, and it was from Steve, it was a brand new iPad. My iPad that I had was several years old, I think 4 or 5 years old. I don't remember, I think it was an iPad 2. I don't remember what it was, but it's been a number of years. And I had bought Steve the iPad Air last year. And when this one came out this year and it was 128 gig, I kind of mentioned that I wanted to get it, and he got it for me for Christmas. And it's amazing how much smaller and lighter the new iPad is compared to my old one. I mean, the old one is like a brick compared to this one. It's like crazy. So I have been enjoying that. The other thing that we got was a new router for our house. And I think I mentioned last year when we upgraded our internet service. Well, now we have a new router that's even faster, that allows more speed, and our internet is screaming fast now. I think it took 10 minutes to upload a 30-minute Let's Play yesterday. So that is pretty fast. I'll be interested to see how long it takes me to upload this podcast as well. But usually about a 30-minute episode is right around 200 to 300 megabytes. So for that to upload in 10 minutes, that's just huge. Anyway, so yeah, I'm recording this episode on New Year's Eve. Steve and I do not have any special plans for New Year's Eve. We typically don't do anything. We hang out. Sometimes we're up till midnight, but most of the time we are in bed before midnight. I know we're kind of old farts when it comes to that, but it's like any other day, you know. I mean, it's a new year and time just is flying by. Do we really want to acknowledge that all the time? I'm not sure. So yeah, we probably won't do anything. Actually, we are going to go out to dinner. Well, it's going to be a late lunch today. This morning, Steve and I were having a conversation, and right in the middle of the conversation, with no preamble to it, he just says, "Yeah, I want a Piedmontese burger today." And I'm looking at him like, what does that have to do with what we're talking about? And apparently that was his way of telling me that he wanted to go out to dinner. I'm like looking at him like, I can't even remember what we were talking about, but it had nothing to do with food or eating or whatever. So yeah, so we're going to be going to one of our favorite restaurants today. It's called the Red Coat Tavern, and they have a Piedmontese hamburger that we both love. It's like the Piedmontese beef is the lowest fat that you can get in a beef hamburger. And actually, it's lower fat than chicken. And it tastes like a full fat burger. So we're going to go and do that a little later today. I'm actually home early from work, which was great. My boss came back to the office this afternoon, and he said, "Oh, you can go ahead and go home. I'll be here for a while." I'm like, "Okay." So that was nice. It was a nice surprise. But tomorrow is New Year's Day, and we don't really have any plans for that either. We probably will be doing some things around the house. I'm having knit club on Saturday, and I do have a VKN on Sunday. So I'm not going to have a whole lot of time this weekend to do my regular weekend chores. So I probably will do most of them tomorrow and then Friday evening after work, so that I can just kind of chill and relax and spend the time with the girls on Saturday and then VKN on Sunday. But when I'm not cleaning tomorrow, I probably will be playing Sims and possibly doing some knitting as well. Crystal just kicked the camera. So that is probably what I'm going to do. I might even have a movie fest. I might do a Harry Potter marathon or some other trilogy type of marathon where I watch several movies of in the same series. I already mentioned VKN. So I'm going to have a couple of drawings. I'm going to do them a little later in the show. So before I get started with my knitting, I do want to share with you my purchases this week, but I do need one thing before I can start with that. So hang tight for one moment while I go get that. Okay, I've got what I need now. The first thing I'm going to show you is probably not going to be a surprise to you, but it is one of the purchases that I made this week, so I thought I would share it with you. And it's my extra green yarn for my knit swirl. I did order 2 skeins. I probably will not use 2 skeins, but I've ordered 2 because, you know, I was paying for shipping anyway. And I figured I could always use the other skein for something else at some point. So I did get my 2 skeins of the green for my knit swirl. I did order some other yarn. I got a gift card to Webs, and I ordered some yarn that's not here yet. So I will show that to you and share with you what I'm going to make with it when it arrives. It should probably arrive sometime between now and the next episode. So I'll be able to share that with you. And I'm very excited about this because it's a sweater that I've wanted to knit for a while. And I didn't really have exactly the kind of yarn that I wanted. So it was nice that I got a gift card, and my gift card covered all but like $2 of the purchase. It might have been up to $4, but then, you know, you have shipping and stuff like that. So I was very excited about that. So I will share that with you next week. But the big thing that I want to share with you today was a purchase that I made actually a few months ago. I do want to tell you, I haven't been making a lot of purchases. If you've been watching the show for a while, I've been trying to knit from my stash all of 2014. And other than my crazy, outrageous spending at Zombie Knitpocalypse, I have not really bought too much yarn. I think I've bought a skein here or there, you know, this year, but for the most part, I have been extremely good. Now, I did make some also purchases at Maryland Sheep and Wool too this year, but other than those 2 venues, which I kind of gave myself a little bit of a free rein when it came to events. But other than that, I did pretty well considering the rest of the year. I might have bought a couple of skeins throughout the year, but other than my events, I didn't buy anything else. But what I have been doing is I have a thread in the Knitting Blooms group for Sell Your Stuff. And I'm always looking for cool things to give away at Knitopia. Because at Knitopia, yes, I do solicit for donations, but I also purchase a few items, that are really nice and that I think people will like. So earlier this year, I think it was back in September or October, I placed an order with this company, and as typical, when I get boxes for Knitopia, I typically just kind of stash them away for, you know, in one pile until they collect, and then I sit down one day and I open them all up. Well, I did this. I opened up all these packages that have been arriving for the last couple of months, and one of the packages I opened up for a prize that I purchased for Knitopia. I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. And it was actually one of the items that was posted in the Sell Your Stuff thread. And when I go to look for stuff to purchase for Knitopia, I do go directly to that thread. So if you have a yarny-based business on Etsy or Big Cartel or whatever, please make sure that you go over to that thread and post your links or whatever. Because even though I might not always respond, I do look at most of the things, and I do go to the shops, and I do try and support the people, the indie sellers, as much as possible. So anyway, I got this bag, and I'm like, oh man, I love this bag. I want to keep this for myself. But I couldn't do that. So when I received a gift card to Etsy last month, or earlier this month actually, I decided I was going to splurge and get myself these bags. And I will show you the bag first, and then I'll tell you who it's by. Actually, I'll tell you who it's by. It's by Front Range Bags. And she is at frontrangebags.etsy.com. And well, I don't know why it takes so long to focus. There we go. Okay, Front Range Bags at .etsy.com. And let me tell you, we're gonna focus again. I love these bags. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love all my other bag people that I am addicted to, like Knitty's My Bag. I'm not sure that there is a bag that, I mean, Knitty's My Bag I will always love. She's my favorite. And but this bag is starting to be a favorite also. So this is the first bag that I ordered. And I had to get the bright rainbowy bag with kitties on it. And this bag is kind of like, it's got like a quilting padding. Like it's smushy. There's like a padding. It's almost like a quilt. I mean, that's what it feels like to me. I don't know if that's what the correct terminology is, but that's what it feels like to me. It feels like there's a quilted fabric. It's not quilted like a stitching quilting, but like there's a fabric, a thickness between the two fabrics. It's got a really nice zipper with a zipper pull, which I am coming to love, and apparently Cody's coming to investigate. And this is another thing that I really like. There's pockets on the outside. So there's a big pocket here. That's just there. So there's one big pocket here. And there's a big pocket. I know, can you sit down? There's a big pocket on this side as well. It doesn't go all the way across, but the pocket actually goes to the edge of the bag. But there's, no, you can't sit on that, baby. You're gonna fall. The pocket actually goes to the edge of the bag, but there's kind of like a lip. It's about 2 inches here at the top. So that's cool. And then on the inside, there is another zipper, little zipper thing. You know, like if you have a purse and you have a zipper along the side, well, there's a kind of like a little pocket zipper. Oh my gosh, this pocket is huge. I didn't realize how big it was. It's a huge pocket. The pocket starts about right here, and it goes all the way to the bottom of the bag. So there you go. It's a huge pocket. It goes all the way. See how far I can put my hand in there? All the way in. So that is great. And then on the other side of the bag, there's other little just slat pockets. There's 3 of them, I think. Yeah, 3. So that is really cool. And the bag is nice and big on the inside. So it's going to be great for doing a larger, like a shawl or something that has 2 balls. It's great. Now, what I didn't check is if she had different sizes. I think this might be the only size, or this is a medium. I'm not sure, actually. I didn't check that. All I know is that this was the size that I liked, and this is the size that I got. Let me see if I can head on over to her shop, because we have super fast internet now. Let me see. Go back. Let's see if I can get to her site. Okay. So, yeah, she just has project bags listed. And she only has 57 sales. So she's still very, very new. So get them while you can, because you know what happens when something goes viral and everybody wants it. Then you can't get it anymore. So head on over to her shop. You can check the thread on the Sell Your Stuff thread in the Knitting Blooms group and get some bags. And she's got, right now she has 22 bags listed. And it appears, okay, so they have different, there is a couple that have different prices. So she's got the $35 bag, which is this bag. This is the $35 bag. She has a bag that's $30, which I'm assuming is slightly smaller. And she has a Foxy Knitter's tote that's $55. Cody's getting into everything. So yeah, but primarily most of the bags are $35. And so like I said, that I'm assuming that that's this bag, because I'm pretty sure that that's how much I paid for this bag. So that's the first bag I got. Oh, there's also a little thingamajig on the inside of the bag too. I think you use that for your, yeah, there's 2 of them actually. You use that to run your yarn through. So there's 1 on each side, so if you have 2 balls, you can run your yarn through. I would never do that, only because I don't know how I do it, but I get the yarn tangled around everything. It wouldn't work for me, because I'd have to cut the yarn. But that's just me. So that's the first bag that I got. And then the second bag is the sheepy bag with the balls of yarn and the knitting bag. And it's the same type of thing, where it's got the 2 big pockets on the outside, the very nice zipper pull. It's the squishy quilted fabric. On the inside, we've got a nice big inside, and then the zipper, and then the other pockets. And I don't know, look, she put the sheep fabric on the inside on these pockets. I can't show it really that well. See how she put the sheep fabric in there? I love that. So yeah, front range bags, and go check them out. And guess what? I talked to her, and she's giving you guys a 20% discount with a coupon code. Let me get the coupon code for you really quick. I wrote it down. That's what I needed to get, because I forgot what it was. Okay, so she's giving you a 20% discount. So go over and buy up all her bags, because you will absolutely love these bags. The coupon is good until the end of January, so don't wait. Do it now, because like I said, she's got a lot of bags out there that you can go and purchase. But once people start to get to see the bags, they're going to want to keep buying. And she's a one-person shop, and she might not be able to keep up with demand. Or she might be able to keep up with demand, but the coupon expires the end of January. So the coupon is KNIT, I can't even spell, K-N-I-T, and that's an uppercase K, and then the letter B, and then 20. So knit B20, and I'll put it down here so that you can see it as well. So run on over there. I will try and remember to do a link in the Ravelry group under this episode when I post this episode thread, and I'll try and also do it on YouTube as well. So if you're watching on Ravelry or on YouTube, you'll see the link directly below. So that is cool. That is so cool that she's giving us the coupon code, and I just might have to go over and buy another bag and use the coupon code. But I'm very happy with these 2 bags. Very happy with them, and I can't wait to start using them. So that's all I've got purchased this week. Like I said, I did place one other order. It'll come next week, and I'll show it to you then. Okay, so let's move on to finished objects. And I had every intention to weave in the ends on these, and I just didn't. But I have 2 finished socks. Finished socks. I didn't have that much more to go. You'll see that there's my stitch markers from last time. So I didn't have too much more to go to finish them off, but I did finish them off, and I have a pair of socks as soon as I weave in the ends. And with the new dressers, I have a drawer for my socks, and the drawers in the dresser are much bigger than the drawers in my last dresser. And my last dresser, I had too many socks. I couldn't fit them all in. But this dresser, the drawers are a lot deeper, and they're bigger, back, deeper back, this way, and whatever. They're bigger all around. Okay. So I have lots of room for more socks. So I'm very excited about that. So this pair of socks is done, and I started a new pair of socks. That's the only finished object I have. I did start a new pair of socks, I didn't start a new pair of socks this week because I showed them to you last week, but I have worked on them this week. And they are my socks from my hand dyed. So here's the first sock, and I have a heel. I actually did the heel yesterday. And the second sock is ready for the heel. I had hoped to do the heel last night while I was playing Sims, but I never really got a chance to do it. So last week I showed them to you, and I had just toes for each of them. And actually it's kind of cool how that's working. I put them side by side. I should make sure that I wear my socks like that on my feet. Because you see how this one goes all the way from one to the other? That's kind of interesting. Anyway, so it's kind of doing a little stripy pulley thing. But it's not too bad that it's making me annoyed with it. But that is kind of cool that that's doing that. But yeah, they're coming right along. I was going to say this one looks shorter, but it's because I actually have a little bit done on the leg on this one on the left. Is that my left? Or that's my left, but is it your right? It's your right, this one. Anyway, so it's coming along. I really do like these colors. They really turned out nice. And this yarn is, I believe it was Knit Picks Bear when I dyed it. Pretty sure. So I will continue to work on those socks this week. I do like to work on socks when I have, when I'm playing Sims and I'm kind of have to wait for my Sim to do stuff. I have a simple project close by that I can work on, that I can pick up and work on. I am planning on starting a new pair of socks sometime very soon, and I'm planning on using this yarn. This yarn was gifted to me, I believe it was last year, for Knitopia from Never Enough Time. They called this colorway Totally Tina, and it's got heels and toes in pink. Where are we going to focus? The heels and toes in pink, and then the pink and yellow for the main sock. And I don't know if this is a self-striping or not. It doesn't really matter either way. But I am looking forward to starting these socks as well. I'm going to probably wind up the yarn this week, or this, probably before Saturday, just in case I want to work on them on Saturday. But that's going to be my next pair of socks. I did work on my fall mystery shawl. I think I got 4 rows done maybe. The rows are pretty long. Let me see. I have a marker here. Yeah, I think it's probably 4 rows. The rows are pretty long, and what I've been trying to do is do 2 rows before I work on other projects. But the problem is that if you did the fall mystery knit along this year, you know that some of the rows are pretty complicated and you have to think, and it's not one of those things that you can just fly through while you're doing 6 other things. Even though this is my 3rd shawl, I still need to focus a little bit. Plus, it has been sitting for a while, so that makes me have to focus even more because I haven't worked on it and I have to remember how to do things. But I am going to try and do 1 or 2 rows every day in hopes that I can finally finish this. I don't think I have that many rows left. I want to say that I'm almost finished with the 5th. I think it's clue 4. But it's chart something else. Maybe it's clue 5. I don't even know. I don't know. I just know that I think there's 2 charts after this one, I think. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, so I am working on it. I haven't done too much on it, but I did pull it out this week. And I have had it sitting by my chair, kind of talking to me, trying to get me to do it, but there hasn't been too much time this past week for me to really focus on this project. I have been watching the TV series Touch with Kiefer Sutherland, and that is one show that I really felt like I needed to watch versus do other things. Because most of the time when I'm watching TV, I'm not really watching TV. I'm listening to the TV and glancing up every now and then. But that show, I really felt like I needed to watch it. So I had to do something like socks or whatever in order to be able to watch the show while I knit. And I couldn't do that with this. But I'm very excited. I love this color. This is Solar Flare Fibers. Fiona. I got this at this was one of my purchases at Zombie Knitpocalypse. So I love this colorway. I want to finish this shawl so I can wear it. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. In my Knitting's My Bag. My Knitting's My Bag. And the other project, which is also in my Knitting's My Bag. It's my Knitting's My Bag, Knitting Blooms bag. I have Ecuador. And I am actually further along than what you saw last week, even though I ripped it back. So here we have it. So last week I was about right here in the knitting, and I ripped all the way back to here, and then I knitted it back again. And I have a couple of stitch markers here. This stitch marker is just telling me that that's the stitch I need to wrap. I don't remember. Oh, this stitch marker is where I need to measure for the armhole, because I am on the armhole now. And this is the back that I had before. So I had an aha moment yesterday or the day before, around the time that I started the back, because I kept thinking, how am I going to measure this thing, to make sure the armhole is right, and so forth and so on. And what I realized, and And you know, sometimes patterns, you just have to start knitting them and go on faith. And then as you start working through them, you're like, oh, now I get it. Yeah, that was one of the things that happened to me, because I was reading this pattern and I'm thinking, how am I gonna know how many repeats I have to do for this armhole? How am I gonna know this? Well, I realized once I got to the end, once I got to the edge where I was starting my armhole. On the front, this is the front where I'm knitting, and the rows are going like this. Well, guess what? The back, the rows are going in the same direction. So, all I have to do is remember how many rows did I do for the back and do the same number of rows for the front. Hello. But I didn't think about that because visually I'm trying to think about it in my head and figure out how am I going to measure to figure this out. But then when I got to this corner and I started knitting, I'm like, wait a minute. I could just do number of rows. I don't have to measure. I'll just do number of rows and it'll be exactly the same. I know, it's crazy. Anyway, so I did redo the reason I ripped it back was because I did not like how I picked up the stitches. And you'll see one of the short rows is here, and the other one is where this green marker is. So I do like it so much better. I'm glad I took the time to rip it out and knit it back up. It took me more time. I probably would have been almost, finished with the armhole and almost to the back part, but I will be much happier this way. And I did a couple of spur of the moment tutorials. I did a tutorial on how to put in a lifeline after the fact so that you could rip back to it. And then I fumbled through it and figured out how I was going to do it. So you get to see all of that on the tutorial, because I'm sure that when you go to do something, it doesn't always work out exactly as you had planned. And so it's nice to see that sometimes, even though it doesn't work out exactly as planned, it can still all work out in the end. So I did that tutorial, and then I did a quick tutorial on how to pick up the stitches. What I didn't do yet, and what I am still planning on doing, is a tutorial on how to do wraps and turns and then pick up the stitches again. So hopefully I'll get that tutorial completed in the next couple of days. I don't think it'll be that difficult, but I do want to do like a sample before I actually record the tutorial. So, or maybe I'll record the tutorial as I'm making the sample and then show the sample at the beginning once it's done. I don't know. The magic of recording. Anyway, so I'm glad that I ripped it out. I'm glad that it gave me an opportunity to do a quick tutorial to show you how I went about doing it, and so forth. I think those are the type of tutorials that I like the best, because you just never know when you're going to need to do something like that. And this gave me an opportunity to do something that I would not normally need to do. So that's coming along. I'm really enjoying working on this project. It's pretty mindless, pretty brainless. I kind of know how the patterning goes now, and I don't have to worry about it. I do need to keep track of rows, and I need to keep track of repeats and stuff like that. But I have my iPad and my Knit Companion for that, and I just keep it open and I just click the counters and everything goes great. I still have the first part of the first 2 half balls. They're almost gone, but this is the first 2 half balls, because I had 3 total skeins that I each separated into 2 separate balls so I can mix and match them. So that is that. Okay, so now we are ready for the drawings. Let me pull out my new iPad. It just amazes me how, just amazes me how much lighter this iPad is. Okay, so I mentioned that. Oh, before I get on to the drawings, I am going to be trying to get back into my workout schedule starting tomorrow. I have kind of been challenged, so to speak, or guilted, more like it, by Kimberly Sock Bunny Knit and Fit to try and get back on my schedule. I know it's been months since I have been on a regular workout schedule, and honestly, the battery on my scale died sometime between just before Christmas and now, and I went to get on my scale the other day and the battery was dead. And as much as I'd like to know what I weigh, I'm nervous about getting on the scale. So I'm thinking maybe I need to get back on my exercise routine and wait a couple weeks before I get on the scale, and maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised that I haven't even gained any weight, because maybe I'll have worked it all off between now and then. So I am going to try to get back on my exercise plan and do at least 10,000 steps every single day. And what I think I'm going to do, I did try to start running in December, and I was only running 5 minutes at a time because I haven't run in even longer than I've walked. So I didn't want to jump into it too fast. And I think I'm just going to get back on the walking schedule of 10,000 steps a day for at least 2 weeks. If I do 10,000 steps a day for 2 weeks, then I will start again on the running. And hopefully by, say, the end of February, March, I will be running consistently for 30 to 45 minutes. I don't know if that'll happen, but we're gonna try it. But my goal right now is to walk 10,000 steps every single day for the first quarter of the year. Okay, let's do the drawings. That's all we've got left. Okay, so the Knit Your Stash Challenge for 2014 ends today. Today meaning December 31st. When you see it, it'll be January something. So we'll be doing Knit Your Stash 2015. But hopefully by now you have gotten all your stash that you've purchased this year into Ravelry, because only stash that was entered in Ravelry prior to December 31st, today, 2014, is not going to count to Knit Your Stash 2015. So, hopefully you have logged all of your yarn, or at the very least, logged the yarn that you plan to use in 2015. So, these drawings are for the final drawings of 2014. So the final drawing for the Knit Your Stash chatter thread for a $10 pattern or patterns of your choice for posts, the number was drawn between posts 672 and 705, and that goes to number 691, and that's Allison Rose Boom. So Allison, congratulations. You have won $10 worth of patterns, giftable patterns on Ravelry. Always make sure that it's a giftable pattern. And just contact me once you see this episode and let me know which pattern or patterns you would like, and I will get that sent off to you. The second winner is from the finished object thread, and that person will be getting these 2 skeins of worsted weight yarn. I think these are worsted weight. You know what? This is not the worsted weight, but I do have a worsted weight. I'm pretty sure that the one I have in my hand is not the worsted weight, but it's going to be worsted weight. I thought these were the ones, but I picked up the wrong ones. But it's 2 skeins of worsted weight from Fiber Nymph. This was actually the colorway think this was the colorway last year. Can't remember. For Knitopia. It's Let the Sun Shine Through. It's a very awesome colorway. And this goes to number 408, Kathy G. So Kathy, congratulations. You have won 2 skeins of the worsted weight. And I will get that in the mail to you as soon as you contact me and provide me your address. So congratulations to both of you. You are the runaway yarn. You guys are the final winners of the year for the Knit Your Stash Challenge. I have already locked those threads and unstickied them, and I have already created the 2015 threads. You can't post finished objects in the finished object thread until January 1st, which is tomorrow, so hopefully nobody accidentally posts into the that thread. But what I will do is, if anybody finishes a project today after this, if they post it today, it doesn't matter. You're going to see this on Saturday. I'll decide what I'm going to do, and I'll either ask them to repost it or something. I don't know. Maybe nobody will post a finished object today and I won't have to worry about it. So let me just go over again how the Knit Your Stash Challenge works. And this Knit Your Stash 2015 will run for the entire year of 2015. I'm not sure if I'm going to do any other knit-alongs this year. I really like the Knit Your Stash Challenge. I think it gets me out of my box and looking at what I have in my stash and trying to use that. And I think it helps other people as well. I don't know. So anyway, rule number 1. The yarn that's used in the project that you're posting must have been logged into Ravelry on your stash page prior to December 31st, 2015. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is that the project that you're posting in the finished object thread must be completed between January 1st and December 31st, 2015. So you could have started it anytime you wanted in 2014. If it's finished in 2015, then you can post it. There will be monthly drawings in both the chatter and the finished object thread. I will probably keep it along the same lines where the chatter thread will get a $10 pattern and the finished object thread will get some kind of yarny prize, physical yarn that I can mail to someone. So that'll probably continue like that. And what else? And the threads will be up all year, the same thread all year, and the same thing applies with the chatter. Every month I will only draw numbers for that month's chatter. So like this month it was numbers 672 to 705. And then the finished object is always from 0 to whatever the final number is. So the earlier you post your finished objects, the more opportunities you have to win. Because if you post in January, you'll have 12 months. 12 months to win. So those are the simple rules. It's not rocket science. Knit, have the yarn in your stash, because I like looking at everybody's stash. That's the whole reason why I did it, because a lot of people don't post their stash on Ravelry, and I like to look at it. So I guess it's a selfish thing. Anyway, I hope everyone had a fabulous end to their year, and I hope their new year is started off to a great start. I will talk to you next week. Actually, I probably won't talk to you next week now that I think about it. Not that I don't want to talk to you next week, but I do have all those tutorials that I mentioned earlier that I think I will be posting next week as my regular episode. So you will miss me for 1 week. I'm sure you will do fine. It'll be fine. I will be back the following week. I'm not going to an every other week recording schedule. I'm just skipping a week this week. Just this 1 week. I might skip another week next month. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. But I am continuing my weekly schedule as far as that goes, except maybe every once in a while I'll skip a week. And one of the reasons why I'm skipping a week is because I do have tutorials to share with you, and I haven't really had much knitting to show you the last couple weeks. So maybe this way I will have 2 weeks in which to build up my knitting to show you and have lots to share with you in 2 weeks. So I will talk to you in 2 weeks, but by all means, if you have any questions or comments or need to get in touch with me for any reason, please feel free to do that. The best way to get in touch with me is on Ravelry, but I do check the blogs, try to check the blogs as often as I can, and I do try and check the YouTube comments at least once a week, sometimes more often. And please, please, please don't get mad at me if I don't get back to you within a couple of days. I do have a life. Knitting is not my full-time job. As much as I would love for knitting to be my full-time job, it is not. And I do have other things that I do, like play Sims. So if I don't get back to you in 3 hours, please don't get mad at me. That's all I ask. I know everybody wants a quick response, and I try to do responses as quick as possible. But there are times where I will see a post, and it's like, okay, I know that post is there. I do need to answer it, but I can't give it my full attention right now. Now, I can answer you quickly and give you a crap answer and say, well, I got back to you in 2 hours. Well, that's not my style. I would rather give you my full undivided attention and be able to give you a detailed response. So there are times, like I said, that I'll see a post and I'll say, oh, I got to get back to that because this is going to take longer than 30 seconds to write this response. So yeah, please don't get mad at me. That's all I ask. Don't get mad at me. I do my best to get back to people as quick as possible with the most detailed response that I can do. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll talk to you in a couple weeks. Bye.
As always, thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Please feel free to contact me with your comments or suggestions, as I am always trying to improve the show. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube as Blooming Knitter. You can also find me on Plurk, Twitter, and Pinterest as Blooming Knitter, but I don't frequent those sites as often. I post show updates on Twitter and Facebook, and sometimes to Google Plus and Plurk. I am Miss Aerobics on MyFitnessPal and Fitbit. You can always find all the old episodes as well as links to the tutorials on the blog at www.knittingblooms.com. And you can also follow the show on Facebook. You can email me at knittingblooms@gmail.com, and show notes can be found at knittingblooms.com.